Yeah, failure in contemporary terms, like, I guess so. Things like addiction, alcoholism, divorce, bankruptcy, uh, uh, and then failed business ventures or failed careers. You could call them failure, but looking back, they were all contributing to what I do now. They were all really amazing learning experiences. Now the trick is, how soon do you want to see that when you're experiencing failure, that this is good for you?
I love that question. That's so great. I love that a lot. I haven't heard a heart articulated like that. I'm totally stealing that.
So then I was hospitalized and all this gnarly stuff happened. But one of the things that happens is at 29 weeks, everybody comes to you. They want to tell you what the worst case scenario can be if you have that baby at 29 weeks. Wow. And then the calm came over me, just swept over me. And these two specialists came in, and my husband was at the side of me, and they were about to tell us the gnarly stuff. And I said to him, we're talking about what might possibly happen, right? And they said, yes. And I said, there were two women, actually. And I basically just looked at my husband and said, I've got this. Are you okay? And he had no clue what I was about to say, because obviously that was the battle without the cause time in my life. So I just said to them, you seem like really nice people. You're very professional. But we're not going to have this conversation. Like, it's not going to happen, because I'm the sort of person that if you plant that seed in my head of worst case scenario, that's what I'm going to sit here and think about. And I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to think about this healthy baby boy that's going to be born when he's going to be born. So I said, so you seem beautiful and lovely and nice, and it was really nice to meet you. And please don't be offended by this, but I hope we never meet
this
again.
Book is not for the faint of heart. I'm very candid and authentic and raw about who I used to be, what the industry was like. And then I tell my transformation story, and then I teach others how they can transform themselves and their organizations through this same philosophy. So my mission is very clear. I want to change the world. I want to show others that you truly don't have to be ruthless to win, and that you can create extraordinary success for yourself and for others by helping others, by focusing on the needs of other people. I think so many people are focused on themselves, what's in it for me, and they forget that really, at the end of the day, the most rewarding and the most impactful things that we do are when we serve others.
So yeah, I remember seeing you were doing commercials for prostate cancer when you were battling it, or I guess shortly after you defeated it, right? I mean, that require any mental toughness, huh?
So, well, that's a life changer. Fortunately, I discovered I had it when it was in the early stages, and that's when it's the most treatable. And that's why, when they asked me to be the spokesperson for that, I said, yeah, let's do it, because I know if most men are like me, they're not thinking about it. And by the time they go, it might be too late. So, so I joined their campaign to try and educate men and women, as it turns out, to know more about this disease, so that guys will make better decisions when it comes to it.
And women?
Well, yeah. What I realize, it's really tough sometimes to get a guy to go to the doctor, but his mom or his wife or his daughter might be a little bit more successful at getting that done than I was. And so in the beginning, I was recruiting men, in particular, other survivors like myself. But I realized that it'd be much easier if I tried to recruit women to help me with this fight. So, as everybody knows something about breast cancer, and that's because it's a woman's disease, and they've done a fantastic job of getting the message out. When it comes to prostate, cancer, most men don't even know where the prostate is or what the prostate does. So it was a huge uphill battle. But with their help, I think we got a lot done. And most of my team working at the AUA's headquarters were women, and they were focused on helping me getting the word out. And I think we did a real good job.
Most people, as they go through their lives, they just gradually start to feel less and less great.
Hmm.
You know, like the modern lives that we have are impacting us in our physical health and also our mental health. So we start to get all these little symptoms, and we just don't know how it feels to have amazing energy and to have clear thinking, and to just have energy flowing through our body and feel amazing. Like most people just I hear lots of comments of people saying, oh, I'm knackered, but that's just normal. Or, well, I feel a bit crap, but that's just normal. And it's become, I feel, this normalized thing where it's not the standard to feel amazing. And when you do make certain changes that create the feeling of health and create the feeling of like just feeling really, really good, you suddenly realize how crap you
How
must
do
have felt
you
before.
define leadership?
Wow, that's a big question.
I know.
You're going to start there with me? It's a great question, and there's multiple ways to answer it. So let me just throw out the first thing that comes to mind.
Sure.
For me, and we'll get into this, I'm sure, in our time together, but for me, the number one role of a leader is to create a future for people to live into.
I love that. What a great answer. I love that. I've never heard there's like a million, right, definitions of leadership.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a really cool one.
And if you think about it, all of the great leaders through history, right, have done that, right? They have declared into existence a new future for people to live in. It's the power of language. And when used explicitly and intentionally and skillfully, leaders can really generate new possibilities for people to live into, such that they take fundamentally different actions.
After high school, I kind of graduated towards the commercial end of the industry. And I remember the first few times, I was on my feet for 42, 48, 72 hours, just working around the clock, hauling nets and doing what it took to get the job done, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, questioning myself, like, what did I get myself into? I don't think I can do this, right? And because, those first, it was distinct. I remember it like it was yesterday. Those first times in the industry when you're exposed to working like that,
Yeah.
you reach, we're talking, you're hauling nets and you're working nets till your arms, you feel like your arms can't move anymore. But you can't stop because the nets are still coming, the fish is still coming. You're working with other people, they ain't stopping working, right? So I remember those first few years so many times being challenged to the point where, like, I just didn't think I could go on.